like great initiative that ISI has taken. So, as a part of e-mobility revolution, on 19th April 2021, we launched the Asia's biggest electric solo vehicle championship, ESVC 3000, in presence of Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal, Minister of State, Heavy Industries and Public Enterprises, and various guests from ARAI, Automotive Research Association of India, different automotive OEMs, academicians, and media. Now we would like to give you a pictorial view through an event video of ESVC 3000.
In 2013, we at Imperial Society of Innovative Engineers, India's biggest e-mobility platform, came up with a solar vehicle challenge, providing platform to numerous passionate and innovative minds across the nation. The very first season saw a really good response where 50 plus multidisciplinary teams from 9 plus states participated. In this, they showcased their skills and abilities to design and manufacture a solar vehicle, project management and team coordination. In the last 8 years, we have had participation from 24 states in India and also from neighboring country of Bangladesh. 500 plus teams have been a part of this revolutionary event, bringing various innovations in order to harness the solar energy and to increase the performance of the solar vehicle. Inspired by their participation and enthusiasm of students' team, the rules and regulations are updated year on year to push them to build a more efficient vehicle. We have included several dynamic and static rounds like rain test, hill climb test, solar test, etc. to simulate the real-world problems on track. Despite of what we put in front of them, the team have always surpassed our expectations and taken on the challenge. Seeing their progress on track, we have decided to notch it up, to take this vehicle out of the track and to the real world, subjecting them to more practical scenarios. Hence ESVC 3000. This would be a rally challenge for these solo vehicles, whereas we have aimed to do a trip of 3000 km from Chandigarh to Bengaluru by 2026. Currently in this season, teams will be covering up to Pune in time period of 10 days. The route has been marked with 10 overnight stay points and 55 checkpoints. The teams will cover a distance of about 180 to 250 km in a day, traveling between the overnight stay points. These overnight stay points will be having 5 checkpoints positioned in between at the difference of 50 km each. The teams will be accompanied by 2 cars, one in the front and one at the rear. These vehicles will be having a mandatory established radio communication between them to maintain proper synchronization and for the driver to be able to update the teams on the situation. Escort vehicle will be consist of safety equipments and kits. It will act as an emergency rescue vehicle in case of any accident. This vehicle also acts as navigator for the team, and one person from organizing team will be present in the vehicle as observer. Team vehicle will consist of team members trailing the car and basic equipment which can be used to repair the car in case of emergency or breakdown. Checkpoints will be there for the team to take a maximum of 30 minutes break and get their vehicle inspection done. These checkpoints will be positioned at places with high inflow of the public to get maximum reach. It can be a popular restaurant or an institute. Billboards will be placed before and after the checkpoint for direction. At the checkpoint, a gate arc will be there to direct the vehicle and public towards the event venue. The local leaders will be invited to encourage the teams and help create awareness and educate the people. Apart from technical inspection, this area will also consist of activity zones for promotions by our sponsor and create awareness among the population present. Overnight stay point will be the point where the team will have to reach at the end of the day. These points will be near to highway but within some major cities and towns on the way. These points will have a dedicated parking area for all the teams and vehicles to park together, creating a beautiful spectacle. Each overnight point will have some kind of entertainment activity arranged where local minister, magistrate, gazetted officials, delegate from industry, our sponsor and media will be invited to attend along with the people from city and nearby regions. This can really help spread the awareness about electric vehicle and renewable energy. The venue will also have various points of attraction for the locals in order to gain their attention. The teams will be provided access to hot pit where they can perform repairs on the vehicle on the permission of technical inspector and with the compliance of the rule book. The team will also have opportunity to charge their battery packs. They will be provided with an option of charging station at the venue. The overnight stay point will also act as the starting point for the next day trip. Early morning, the vehicles will be lined up after a technical inspection to check the compliance of changes done. The flag off event will also be conducted in presence of minister or local leaders and our sponsor, followed by press conference for the same. At the end of 10th day, the team will have reached the destination of ARAI, Chakan. In this duration, this rally will cross 10 plus cities, 60 plus towns and 500 plus villages, creating impact on over 7 crore people, spreading the message. The outcome of this rally will be promote and educate general public for e-mobility, promote renewable energy, real-time innovations, improving solar technology, minimizing skill gap, promote entrepreneurship, skilled workforce for auto industries. Join us in this country rally and create a difference.
Hope you get a clear view what ESVC 3000 is all about. Now I would like to ask Mr. Vinod Gupta, founder and president ISI India, to address the speakers at attendance.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to welcome and thank you, all of you, Mr. Dhyanudas, Mr. Arendam Lahiri, Dr. Harsh Kumar, Dr. Rana Singh, Mr. Tushar, and as a moderator, Dr. Ashwini Sharma, to this expert talk on electric vehicle engineering for academia. And this is one of the perfect day to conduct such kind of event on World Environment Day. And this electric vehicle engineering is one of the dominating field, one of the dominating sector for the engineering students and faculties to grow their career and get skills. As per the Niti Aayog report, in India, 70% commercial cars, 30% private cars, 40% buses, 80% of two-wheeler and three-wheeler will be electric by 2030. And although few days back, I get to know, like by this end of this year, we are also coming up with the manufacturing of lithium and battery cells. That is one of the challenge for this sector. So there is kind of challenges there, but number of opportunities is also there. So that's why we have come up with this topic, and we invited experts from the academia industry, and I hope it will be a great event at the right time to guide and motivate people, those who are looking to make their career in the field of electric vehicle engineering. And I would like to also mention ISI India is having excellence in this field from last 9 years, and we are the only organization in India who is providing such kind of academic program related to electric vehicle engineering. And fortunately, with this program, we have two honorable vice chancellors of university. They are very visionary, and they taken this initiative. And so after all, this event is going to be very fruitful, who are attending through our e-learning platform or live at YouTube channel. So once again, I would like to welcome you all and thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to introduce and welcome our moderator of the event, Dr. Ashwini Kumar Sharma, Dean, Adamas University and advisor to ISI India. He is a dynamic teacher, professional mentor, and coach with a rich experience of 20 plus years in engineering education. He is a doctorate from National Institute of Technology, Kurukshetra. He is certified by CMI Level 5 in Management and Leadership from Chartered Management Institute, UK. He pioneered introducing the project-based learning for the student of engineering and faculty and developed innovation teaching and learning aids. His expertise include project, consultancies, patents, project-based learning, innovation, and team leading. I welcome you, sir, and I would like to request you to moderate further event and welcome our all dignitaries.
Hello, Ashwini, sir, I think you are muted.
Unmute yourself.
Yeah, good afternoon to all the dignitaries present here on this platform. On the occasion of World Environment Day, this is a right day for all of us to gather for a cause, which is a noble cause, which will reduce the burden on Mother Earth in terms of pollution, in terms of so many things which are not being done properly. And today's topic is roadmap to electric vehicle engineering for academia, because the organizers think that it's the academia which actually drives everything, because it creates that kind of workforce, it creates that kind of mindset which propels further in terms of leadership, in terms of coming up with innovations, in terms of adopting with the new technologies, and so forth. So with this, I would like to start with this session today. As moderator, I am Dr. Ashwini Sharma, and I am Dean of Engineering at Adamas University. It's in Calcutta. So what course of action we will have is I am going to call every panelist here, and they will be talking approximately 3 minutes on to giving their opinion. After that, we will be having a panel discussion in which the questions will be asked to the panelists. So, sir, this is going to be the course of action. And now I would like to start with the program. Thank you so very much for joining us. This time, I'm very happy to introduce Mr. Tushar Sambram. Mr. Tushar is a principal application engineer at ANSYS. He has more than 15 years of experience in simulation industry with a specific focus on automotive electrification with in-depth understanding of simulation-driven product design workflows, including electromagnetic, computational fluid dynamics, structural analysis, multi-physics simulations, and system simulation. He's having the expertise in traction motor design and development using simulation for sizing detailed analysis, thermal and NVH characterization and control strategies, and also have good understanding of power electronics, the EMI, EMC applied to electric vehicles. So, Mr. Tushar, the stage is all yours, your 3 minutes.
Thank you, sir. I hope you can hear me okay. So thanks a lot for a very generous introduction, and thanks a lot for the organizers, ISIE, for inviting me to share my thoughts. And it's great to see the amount of work that ISIE is doing for electrification. So without wasting my time, let me put my views. So I think what we are talking about today is a very, very important topic, and we are doing it at a very correct time. Not only because it's a World Environment Day, which of course is a great feat in itself, but also we are at a time when I feel we are at the cusp of a transformation where we'll see lot more EV adoption that is getting driven in next to 5 to 10 years. You will see a lot more EVs coming on the road in next 5 to 10 years. Predominantly because a lot of the anxiety issues that were with the EVs, be it about the range, be it about the cost, be it about the safety, those are all getting addressed. These technological advancements that the industry is making, those are addressing all these changes, and people will feel a lot more comfortable in adopting the EVs going forward. And that is going to be that is going to draw a lot of business for the industry. Now, putting the Indian context into picture, if you talk about the India, we will also see a lot of transformation in next 10 years, I feel. Because if you see the current EVs in India, what we have, most of it is an integration work. So we talk about bringing the subsystems or the components from the global suppliers, and we have been working towards putting them together and building our EVs. But from last couple of years, there's a lot more talk about localization. There is a lot more emphasis about the make in India or make for India, primarily driven by the government initiatives through FAME 2 and so on and so forth. So what I feel is in the next 5 to 10 years, you will see a lot more investment happening in Indian EV industry. Indian automotive industry will be driving a lot more R&D projects, which are focused towards EV in the next 5 to 10 years. And that investment is going to drive a lot of innovation. And the people who are in this forum today, the academia, the fresh engineering minds and the intellects here in this conference today are going to play a very important role in driving that investment and making sure we achieve our goals of localization or building the best in class EVs. And that will kind of set a roadmap for where Indian automotive industry will end up when the EV adoption reaches a stage of mass consumption. So I feel these 5 to 10 years are going to be very exciting. The industry, the academia is also equipping itself with the modern technologies like the engineering simulation, virtualization. We are talking a lot more about AI and ML-based techniques. So these all are going to come together very well, not only in building then fresh engineers with much more technological advancements, but also a much better professional understanding or professional enrichment. So I feel that we are going to have a very exciting 10 years, and the people here are going to be the key in driving that. So I am looking forward to have a very meaningful conversation today here, and looking forward to address all the questions you posed to me. That's all I had from my side. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. So now I would like to welcome our next dignitary. He is Dr. Rana Singh. Dr. Rana Singh is Vice Chancellor at Sanskriti University. Dr. Rana Singh is seasoned techno-business professional, having 2 decades of experience in domain of academics, research, training, quality assurance, and consulting. Dr. Singh is a former director of Army Institute of Management and Technology, Greater Noida. Earlier, he had served as Director of Institutional Effectiveness at University of Jazeera, UAE. He has 2 decades of experience in academics, research, consulting, training, academic planning, and administration, including setting up and promoting private university and technical institutions approved by regulatory bodies on turnkey basis. He was recently conferred with Bihar Gaurav Samman and B.R. Ambedkar National Award in 2019. Sir, I welcome you on this occasion, and the stage is all yours. Please, your words for next 3 minutes.
Thank you very much. It's indeed a pleasure to be part of this special event, and I thank the organizers for organizing such a wonderful event on such a contemporary theme. It's indeed a pleasure to welcome all the dignitaries of this panel discussion. And I once again express my thanks and gratitude to my fellow panelists, as well as the experts today. And the organizer of this event, Mr. Vinod Gupta, founder and president of ISIE India. Well, in the next 2.5 minutes left with me, my core suggestions is to have Center of Excellence in each engineering college. That's the first one, so that we start focusing on taking the envisioned CAGR growth rate of 26.8%, which has been envisioned by the various statistical organizations. So Center of Excellence 1, recommendation for having a dedicated specialization in engineering, super specialization in automobile engineering as electric vehicle engineering. Having a committed focus on the structuring curriculum, which is outcome-based, with optimum focus on quality assurance, so that the students are able to achieve the right quality of academic input with the right approaches towards quality assurance, with skill-based approach, as well as optimal integration of entrepreneurship, innovation, incubation, and startup approach. So the engineering students to also be supplemented with the approach towards entrepreneurship and to incubate their organization with a startup. That's one. Next is to focus on strengthening the charging station infrastructure of the country so that all the EVs which are likely to come up, they are getting sufficient charging points within the country, and they are able to optimal utilization of those charging stations so that in the shortest possible time, they are able to recharge and move forward. And last but not the least, motivating the industries to launch more and more e-vehicles by giving them special form of subsidies or grants or incentives so that they are able to come up with more and more new vehicles. Well, as a buyer, when I went for opting for buying an electric vehicle, I had hardly an option to buy a dozen of cars ranging from 10 lakhs to almost 1.5 crores. So we have to motivate the industries by giving them more and more grants and opportunities so that they can bring down the level of the price, which becomes more affordable. And last but not the least, we need to work extensively in terms of manpower planning for the whole country so that we are able to produce the right number of engineers in electric vehicle segment so that there is no overflow of talent and there is no undersupply. So that is one. We also need to work on a well-structured strategic plan to have solid waste management for the entire electric vehicle segment coming up. So to summarize, I'll talk about having center of excellence, dedicated course, super specialization course in automobile engineering, focus at electric vehicle, focus on quality assurance of the academic programs and skill-based programs, improvement of charging stations, focus on manpower planning of the country, and focus on solid waste management across the country. Thank you very much. I think my time is up. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for such a nice speech, sir. It's excellent. Means the way you have elaborated within this time, it's commendable. And you have rightly said that companies or industries are coming up with the vehicles, but nobody is thinking of right now. Right now, nobody is thinking of what kind of workforce will be needed, what kind of manpower is required, and obviously we are the people who are going to produce that kind of manpower. So rightly said, sir. Now next speaker would be one of the who's who on national level, and he is Dr. Harsh Sadavarti, who is currently the Vice Chancellor of City University. Being a personal known for us, he has got a very, very kind of great attitude, which actually reflects as a visionary and as well as a friend in all the times. Dr. Harsh Sadavarti is a Vice Chancellor at City University. He is an eminent academician and excellent administrator with 26 years of experience in general administration, research and development, and teaching functions, possessing high academic credibility, clear strategic vision, and outstanding leadership qualities. Dr. Sadavarti has been monumental for development of corporate planning across City University and setting academics and corporate goals and objectives for the departments. He is responsible for promotion of research and facilities, resource mobilization for research to get consultancy from various research project under MSME Government of India to raise funds for the university student support and progression. So there are no words to actually speak about him, but still I would like to now welcome Dr. Harsh Sadavarti to take over the stage, and next 3 minutes is for you, sir.
So thank you so very much, Dr. Ashwini. Thank you, ISI. Thank you, Mr. Vinod. And thank you all my fellow colleagues. Really, it's a great opportunity for me to interact with my fellow colleagues, eminent academicians, personalities, dignitaries on this auspicious day of World Environment Day. So let's take a pledge to save the environment, save the Mother Earth. And it's a right day, coincides with our expert talk, which is a befitting theme. Yes, the time is right for electric cars. In fact, the time is very critical also, as all roads lead to electrification. So electric vehicles, as we all know, is the future of transportation and electric mobility. We all are talking about it. And it has become an essential part of the energy transition and will imply significant changes for vehicle manufacturers, governments, companies, and individuals as well. So electric cars are more than a novel means of mobility, and they have been recognized as an essential building block of the energy transitions, and fulfilling their promise will imply a significant change in, you will see, technical, digital, and social dimensions of transport and energy infrastructure. That is very, very important. And with the increasing opportunities, students looking for a career can opt for a professional specialization in electric vehicle with the core domain in mechanical, electrical, civil, with specialization in electrical vehicle. Rightly said, Dr. Rana Singh, we need center of excellence. We need to collaborate with industry to establish a world-class infrastructure for electric vehicles and take expertise from industry people, blend our program as per industry needs, and start guiding students and start upskilling students from day one. And engineers generally enter the electric vehicle industry with bachelor's degree or higher. And some position demand various experience also. So the courseware part is very much important. As rightly said by Dr. Rana Singh, it should be outcome based and purposefully designed and skillfully designed. So basically, when you talk about skill set, it is also very, very important with cross-sectional expertise in chemical engineering, electronics, embedded software, electrical engineering are said to be highly sought after when you talk about electric vehicles. Yes, artificial intelligence will play a very, very important role in an EV design, product manufacturing, everything, and blending with basic traditional conventional electric engineering skills with data mining and analysis, computer sciences, physics, mathematics, and design will be the need of the hour. And looking at the path forward, India aims to reach a vision of 100% electric vehicles by 2030, and India's development in electric mobility will be commendable, I hope, and innovations will continue to take place over the next few years. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for nice words. Obviously, the need of hour is what you said in terms of center of excellence and skilling the manpower. Ladies and gentlemen, now because our viewers are also watching on YouTube, so that's why I'm taking the word ladies and gentlemen, sir. So now it is the time to welcome another speaker who is again one of the most sought after figure on the national level. He is Mr. Arendam Lahiri. Mr. Arendam Lahiri is a Chief Executive Officer at Automotive Skill Development Council India. Prior to this, he has held various senior position responsibilities, including Chief Academic Officer, Executive Director, Advisor to MD, Education and Skill. He was responsible for various academic delivery operations and have specialties in startup, strategic planning, human resource, supply chain, training and development, business negotiations, alliances and partnerships, learning and development. So Arendam sir, now the stage is yours for next 3 minutes. Take over, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Sharma. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Very good afternoon to all of you. We have a very distinguished panel in today's session. Very happy to see very active participation by vice chancellors themselves, on topics like this, because this is very motivating for students when they hear it from senior leaders like you. I mean, this is one of the areas that I need to speak most these days. I rarely have a day when I don't have a forum to discuss electric mobility or electric vehicles. So, there are lots of thoughts coming to my mind, but the time is very short. So I'll try to focus on just two elements which I want to focus, assuming that there is a lot of people from the academia and the students who are also viewing this particular program right now live or in future as part of the YouTube video. The moment we talk about electric vehicle, while in terms of IC engines also, I think safety was a very important issue that always was required to be addressed. But when it comes to electric vehicle, I think it assumes a very different proportions. And I would urge, organizations or academic institutions who are looking at setting up of, special infrastructure for electric vehicles, etc. One thing that must be given its very, very high importance, which is required in the industry, and today is one of the biggest pain points in the industry, is safety. I have rarely come across an academic institution where there is a separate safety lab. But if you go to any automobile company, larger companies who manufactures vehicles or parts of automotives, one of the first things that a newcomer in the industry will go through mandatorily for the first 2 weeks is something which is equivalent to a safety lab, which talks about all the various safety devices, why they should be using certain things. And in case of electric vehicles, the bigger challenge is in terms of high voltage electric, dealing with parts which deal with high voltage electricity, including charging station infrastructure that Dr. Singh had just mentioned about also. So while we are dealing with this, I think we need to have a very, very big focus on safety. The other point that I wanted to highlight, for today's engineers and also academicians who are looking at programs and courses focused on electric vehicle application or e-mobility application or alternate fuel vehicle applications. Automobiles have moved from being just a mechanical device to an electromechanical device to today a very integrated technological solution for transportation. And that's how I would want to see it. So if you look at the technology evaluation, there is a lot of integration that's happening from different fields. In the early days of manufacturing of cell phones, electronic engineers used to rule the roost, but electronics itself is becoming like a very commoditized design, so to say. And therefore, people are looking at extra values that keep coming in. Who would have imagined that an electronic device like a cell phone would integrate something which was completely non-electronics, which is a camera, the lens, the quality of the lens, the position of the lens, the number of lenses that you want to work with. These are very critical elements of a cell phone today. Probably as important and sometimes more important than the processor speed or the processor capacities, etc., kind of a thing. Now, tomorrow's cars will have lots to do with infotainment, because if we are talking about autonomous, semi-autonomous, connected kind of vehicles, there is lots of work around how do you engage a rider while they are riding. Infotainment is definitely one thing. So I think it's important to open the mind of the youngsters while they're at the campus to look at cars very differently from what we've been traditionally used to be. Thank you, and we'll be happy to join the conversation later.
Thank you so much, sir, for your nice words. And yes, this is one aspect which is what we can say industry by itself, and that is safety. And huge research, huge number of people are working on this, and this is an area which can be invaded by the prospective students as well as the faculty. Thank you so much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, the last speaker, which is not the least, is going to be one of the most dynamic person which I have ever met. One of the most dynamic. He is, okay, let me introduce him. He is Mr. Dhyanudas. He is co-founder of Agility Ventures. He is a prominent business leader, serial entrepreneur, and investor with a mission to empower entrepreneurs and startups with investment, mentoring, capacity building to enable fast business development. With an extensive investment, operation, strategy, and development experience, he has mentored many startups into successful businesses and has effectively led major business turnarounds as well as set up new business all across the country. He is perfect combination of a dreamer, a mentor, a businessman, and a true visionary. He is an active angel investor in many startups that are involved in inventing and developing problem-solving products. He invests both his money and trust in the companies and people with idiosyncratic business ideas and passion to change the world. With a passion that is tempered with resilience, he has been an angel investor in many dreams, and I myself have witnessed that. Welcome, Mr. Dhyanudas. The stage is for yours for next 3 minutes. Please take over.
Thank you, Ashwini sir. It was a, I don't know, I am overwhelmed with the introduction you have given for me. I don't know if I deserve that, but let me straightforward come to the point. And thank you very much, ISIE, for organizing this, which is very, very important topic of the day, I suppose. EVs are definitely the next big thing. So I'll straight away come to the point, for what needs to be done for academia, because like Ashwini sir said, that I am an angel investor. So I'll talk उसी के point of view से मैं बात करूँगा. The thing is, now when we see entrepreneurs, हमारे India में, I don't know if it's Hindi is okay or English is okay, I'm comfortable both. So when we see with the point of view of entrepreneurs, usually it comes to mind after the student have completed his graduation or after he's completed his masters or anything. Why don't we create something called student to entrepreneurs who is in the first year or second year? Create an incubator, which is actually giving some experimental stipend-based money to these people who are actually willing to experiment, maybe in their first year, second year, or third year. So student to entrepreneur is what I would actually recommend to all the universities or academias, what they need to do. How they can do it? First, they should tie up for working collaborations with organizations like, one, government bodies, Atal Innovation Mission or Atal Incubation Mission, they provide both. Second, autonomous bodies like SIAM or SMEV or even NASCOM for that matter. Third, tie up with investors like me or funds who are actually ready to give stipend money to the students who are willing to experiment in the real world. When we provide the real infrastructure at college level to experiment, these students definitely will become great entrepreneurs. I heard Mr. Rana saying that it's growing at a 26.8%. I personally believe it's growing more faster than that, bigger. It was zero vehicles, probably very less vehicles in 2010. And today we are sitting at around 3.5 crore vehicles worldwide, which is huge. When you go to China, you will see all green number plates. Same in India. I have met almost hundreds of entrepreneurs who have started their own EV manufacturing, hundreds of them. And the major challenge, primarily, people are not realizing are in two things which needs to be taken care. The major challenge in EV is not the parts. Major challenge in EV is not the infrastructure or the product. It's the battery. How long you can go, how many kilometers you can cover, and how fast you can charge. Second major challenge is the charging stations. How you can collaborate with small entrepreneurs or small garage owners or even startups like Go Mechanic. And these universities can actually help these students innovate and experiment with these things. That will give India the real entrepreneurs who can change the face of EV in India. I believe in that. So that's it. I think I have covered it that in 3 minutes. Thank you, Ashwini ji. Thank you, Vinod ji, for this. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And rightly said that, yes, entrepreneurs are the next thing what academic institutions needs to think of, though it is being done at number of universities, but whatever the outcome is, I think that is not satisfactory outcome. And the way you have elaborated, I think we are in sync with that. Catch them young so that they can be molded into the kind of aspirations what they are having. So this is something which I also have the same opinion, and we started working on the same in our university. Thank you, sir. So now let us have the discussion on number of points, where number of questions are there with me, and these questions are for this August panel. Let us start it one by one. So first question is, what are the changes that are required in education sector to prepare the students for EV sector?
So will you
anyone can take this.
So I'll take it, sir.
Yeah,
so
please.
Changes are the basic knowledge about the industry is not there. I mean, look at Tesla. They did not create a car. They created a want. I want Tesla. Everybody wants Tesla. I'm lucky to know the two directors of India, Tesla India. And one of the directors' company I taken over in one of my companies, Auto Bricks, Kartison, he is the director, Venkat. I have little bit knowledge about the industry, how it is growing, how fast it is growing, and what is required. That little knowledge is also yet not been infused into the minds of the common people, forget about students. So we need to guide them for what's going on around in the world. First. Second, China is the fastest, China is the biggest market for EV, and it's grown to a certain level, but India is the fastest growing in Asia, fastest growing. And just to add up, sir, just one more point. World is looking at India in terms of startups, in terms of, I mean, I'm coming back to my angel investing work, coming to startup. But if you all, I mean, we all know Y Combinators. Y Combinator taken up 43 startups only from Bangalore in 2020 session. So you can understand the way people are looking at India. So we must train the students, tell the students or inform the students what's happening around. Once they know, they can come up with their ideas. That's what I feel.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Harsh, sir, please go ahead. Sir, please unmute yourself, sir.
Yes. Yeah. So as rightly said by Dhyanudas, sir, so first we have to develop passion in the student, and we have to develop them as ambassadors and innovators as well. So even as the government kickstarts EV development initiatives in India, significant roadblocks lie ahead. As we all know, only the right policies in education sector will ensure that institutions and colleges and university overcome these challenges. And one of the largest global automotive markets, India, can play a dominant role in the upcoming EV revolution. And as we all know that students in India, they are passionate, and private universities, they are taking a lot of initiatives, and they have capacity also. They can finance, they can say, spend as money as they can, as long as they're getting quality students. So they can develop a center of excellence and industry inside institute. It is very important. And when we are talking about electric vehicles, so like courses in electric machines, power electronics, and control systems can be derived in the EEE curriculum, but need to be upgraded to incorporate elements relevant to electric vehicles. As I said earlier, the student in the field need to specialize in driver train, battery technologies, and management, along with the renewable energy options.
Yes, sir. That's right, sir. Perfect. So again, sir, next question has come to you also. You again. It's in what areas education sector is lagging? How you are contributing in maintaining the label with industry requirements?
Yes, truly said. When you talk about industry academia, while it's growing economy, India is also witnessing the growth in education sector. However, we always talk about industry academia gaps and readiness of the students in terms of quality and skills. There is an urgent need that Indian industries and academia, they should come together and address some of the underlying challenges. And academia industry, they are two different worlds which operate on different pedestals, but both have different purposes and different ideology. But end of the day, we have to sync that thing. That is very, very important. But now different industries, they are coming to universities and they are establishing their own centers out there on different models. And right from day one, students are getting flavor of new innovative technologies and see, pandemic is blessings in disguise for a few universities as well. They have adopted to this online mechanism of teaching, learning. Students, they have upskilled themselves in, and they have done a lot of certifications as well. So like upskilling is very, very important. And see, practical hands-on training. So develop industry-based infrastructure is also very, very important. And right from day one, provide them industry-based certifications and hands-on training. So like, it would be like we have to develop tailor-made courses, 6 months, 1 year, or incorporate different models, and internships and 6-month trainings will play a very, very important role. And so like funding is also very important. So right now you can say, rightly said by Dhyanudas sir, Atal incubation centers, startups, these will play a very, very important role. And it may include setting up labs, getting funding from industry, from government institutions, and setting up world-class lab with the right infrastructure to upskill student, which is the need of the hour.
Right, sir. Right, sir. Perfect. So, yeah, we have got another question, which is to Mr. Arendam Lahiri. Sir, the question is, which sort of skills needed to become an EV engineer? That's the question. What are the skills needed to become an EV engineer?
So, there are various areas within an EV, I think that's getting highlighted. So if you have an interest towards the research development side, there are certain areas like you could be more focused on test engineering kind of area. You could be focused on design engineering kind of area, or you could be focused even on materials engineering kind of an area, because there are lots of different alternate materials, etc., that are coming in. In addition to that, there are people who have a slight inclination towards, let's say, coding or data analytics or artificial intelligence. Those kind of areas are getting integrated into the whole design of the system itself again. So there are specialists that are required in that kind of an area. In terms of basic manufacturing, I think it's much simpler. So compared to ISIEINDIA, where a lot of focus was on how to get the manufacturing right. Of course, the basic body, paint, the wheels, etc. will be there. The wheels, brake systems, all will be there. But a lot of focus will be on getting the right design for the electronics, integrating it with onboard diagnostics, onboard displays. How do you plan for it? How do you connect the data of the car, and how do you pull that back into the system? The connectivity of the car, there are various formats of connectivity, vehicle to vehicle, vehicle to central servers, etc., etc. So there are a whole lot of areas. Now, one cannot get into all of these areas. There is nothing called an EV engineering per se, just like, there is nothing called a mechanical engineering. I mean, if you want to be a specialist in boilers, you have to be a specialist in boilers. If you have to be a specialist in turbines or hydro turbines, you have to be a specialist there. So I think you will have to find your own mojo in terms of which area you want to work in. But I think there is a whole lot of work that engineers can do on various areas. And there is this big area, what Mr. Das was talking about in terms of battery. I would extend it that battery technologies as well as alternate fuel technologies. I want to emphasize on that because I think there is still while we generically today call it e-vehicles or electric vehicles, but the whole issue is that it may be driven by electricity, but that electricity might come from different energy modes as well. There could be solar integration. One of the tasks that Vinod Gupta ji in ISI India has been doing in terms of promoting it. And I think there are multiple areas. Hydrogen is definitely one area that is being talked about. So
Right,
we
sir.
don't know.
Yeah, right, sir. Thank you, sir. So now this is a quick question which has come for Mr. Dhyanudas, and after that, one after another questions are there for Tushar ji. So Dhyanu sir, this question goes for you. What are the expectations of industry from academia? It's a very simple question, but it is very difficult.
Very difficult question, sir. Sir,
Yes, sir.
industry always need experts. That's why the day 0 and day 1 is created in IIM. So industry is expecting the academia to, I again say that the information is the key and the coaching is the key. The industry expectation is when the student comes out of the academia or the university, they should be well aware of what they are getting into. It's not that, it cannot happen when most of the time it happens so far in India that the student goes to our industry because his friend is doing. And that's why you see, a lot of doctors getting into business and a lot of engineers getting into, MBA and, I don't know. So we want a focused approach by the academia to actually produce the right set of skills in the students. So if I'm coming to your university, I should know that what I'm going for. So industry knows what they are going for, but when they go to the student doesn't know what they are going for. So we have that expectations from the students that they should, that's why we don't want to call them interns. We want to call them experts. That's what the expectation is for I think, especially for me.
Correct, sir. Correct. And you have deliberated and articulated it in so simple ways that we also understood that what is expected by the industries. Okay, fine. So, sir, this is now again Tushar sir's number, and we have got rapid fire of 3 questions. One is which engineering is best for electric vehicles? I'm reading out 3 questions. Which engineering is best for electric vehicles? Next one is which software tool is to be learned as per the industry requirements for EV? And next question is how NSYS is beneficial for students and engineers?
Okay, that's quite a good chain of questions, I'll say, because that will make me to probably narrate it properly. So I think the first question you asked is which engineering stream is good for the electric vehicles? And that question I'll say is all. It will be probably surprising, but if you look at the ICE engines, we used to have the combustion experts, we used to have the thermal management experts, we used to have the aerodynamic experts who had kind of a specialized work. Now, if you talk about EV, if you let me talk about something that is close to me is the traction motors. If you talk about a traction motor, and if you go into the industry and say, I am here working on a traction motor, nobody is going to say, oh, you are going to the electromagnetic design of the motor, or you're going to do a structural design. What is that? It's not about the just one aspect of the design. It's about the designing the system as a whole. So you should be able to be conversant to understand how the motor or how the electromagnetic performance of that component works, how the thermal reliability of that component works, what kind of a noise characteristics it can generate, how do you integrate with the software, what is the functional safety of it. So these all different aspects needs to be addressed. So you just cannot talk about what discipline or what area I need to pick. So I'll say that in order to be an EV engineer, you need to be jack of all. Probably you could be master of one, but you need to be jack of all and address every aspect and see the application as a whole and address it completely. Now that's the answer to first part. The second part is what kind of softwares you need. Now I am coming from ANSYS, so I'll say all ANSYS softwares. But coming to the serious point, I'll say that look at what all I need to do when I'm designing this. I need to make sure every aspect of that, whatever component I am working on, be it on the design side, be it on the maintenance side, be it on the digital deployment side, see what all is the product life cycle that is followed by the industry. So how the industry develops particular thing. It starts with the requirements, it goes into the model-based design, it gets into the deeper engineering simulations, it goes into the prototyping validations, and it goes into the final deployment. And at every stage, there are a lot of softwares that are being used. Quite a bit of it is from the ANSYS, of course, but there are a lot of softwares who do the engineering requirement management, who do the model-based designs, who do the FE analysis, and make sure you touch base on everything. Make sure you understand the process rather than understanding a part of the process, and make sure you are able to connect the dots, because when you go into the industry, these are the skills the industry looks at. You are not going to get trained on the overall process, because the industry honestly doesn't have a time for you to sit around and learn about all this. So come out prepared about all this and learn as much as possible. I'll say every aspect of it. Don't just focus on one. I'm sorry, I lost the third question, the track of the third question.
Yeah. This is how ANSYS is beneficial for students and engineers.
So talking about ANSYS on its own, we have been working with the academia and the fresh engineers from some time, and we are working on two fronts basically. There are two aspects of developing the fresh engineers, right? One is the developing the knowledge about the application, or the knowledge about the physics itself. You talk about the motors, you talk about the battery, how complex is the battery development. I think we touched upon it a couple of times. So what are the challenges? How do you address it? And how do you work on it in a simulation environment? Because see, there is always a cost of innovation, right? Whatever you do, there is always a cost of innovation. If you want to do a prototype and test-based method. But if you go into a virtual environment, you kind of reduce that investment needed for the innovation significantly, and you can try out different things. It brings out the innovation in an engineer, and you can try several things. You can look at the different electrochemistry models, you can look at the different thermal management processes, so on and so forth, and develop a better systems through simulation. So we are also actually setting up the EV labs with the universities, where the engineers can go in get conversant to themselves with the tools that the standard industry standard tools that the industry is using day in and day out, and be ready for the industry whenever that call comes. You are basically up and running and start working on the projects. I hope I'm touching all 3 points correctly.
Right, sir. That's very good. Now, next quick question is to Dr. Harsh, the VC of City University. Sir, the question is not question, it is experience sharing. So the question is, share an experience when you applied new technology or information in your university or in your job.
Yes. See, when it was a great challenge when I joined this university as a founder vice chancellor. It was a big challenge. I named this university as a leading industry-driven university. So living by example, I tied up with more than 25 industries and with a few signature programs like cybersecurity, healthcare sciences, artificial intelligence, data science, and now electric vehicle. It will be a signature program of CT University. And thank you ISI for joining hands with CT University, collaborating with CT University for this amazing need of the hour program. And as we all know, the electric vehicle field is ever evolving, and it will provide a great opportunity for the student and provide intellectual stimulation also. And industry has a huge demand for knowledge and innovative skills. And I must say that UGC and AICT should take corrective action and to incorporate EV engineering as a regular curriculum to empower students to be future ready.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Very good answer. Next question goes to Arendam Lahiri Saab. Sir, the question is, as the cars are going more electromechanical, uh, could you please give us information on the diagnostics know-how and teaching for skill development? Diagnostic know-how and teaching for skill development.
So, there are various diagnostics which are there. One is, of course, in terms of, first and foremost is in terms of understanding the onboard diagnostics in today's cars, because different models provide different levels of diagnostics that are available. But one of the most important area, which is where, this whole area of service technicians that we typically talk about in terms of automobile servicing. We have a very traditional view of a service engineer to be like while in many areas we call them as a service engineer, in automobiles we typically call them a mechanic. And the very picture that we draw is all kind of greased up and black suit and kind of stuff that you have. Now, that's entirely going to change with these kind of vehicles that you see on the road today. You cannot just get under a car and figure out what's wrong with the car, or you just can't start a car and listen to its sound and then generally say, oh, this bearing is not working. There are diagnostics, because a lot of it is now ECU and those kind of control units, lots of sensors which are there, which may not be functioning properly. So all those have to be done with the diagnostic tools that are available. There are softwares. You will need to know how to connect your laptop to which point inside the at the car to be able to run a certain diagnostic software, etc. So there are practical hands-on training programs that are available. And one of the programs that we've recently started focused on EV is EV service lead technician role, which is more to do with both EV as well as hybrid vehicle service technician, and a whole module is focused on diagnostics as such.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now it is turn of Dhyanudas sir. Sir, the question is asked by Sekar Sarvanan. To you, that whether we can get help from the industry to set up the center of excellence in the colleges. So he is he is a professor in some institute, and he is asking for this thing, whether he can get the help from industry to set up the center of excellence in the colleges. Over to you, sir.
Sir, I'm little less aware about the industry, but as a fund or as a investor, definitely you can get help from us for sure. I personally visit many universities. When Ashwin sir were there in Gurgaon, I was visiting that university as well.
Yeah, that's right, sir.
So Corona times I have visited. So I don't think, industry, yes, Maruti started this wonderful, marathon kind of a hackathon kind of a thing with the incubator, and they did a wonderful job in analyzing about 2,000 companies. So for sure, there will be something. You search the internet about Maruti program and you can find it.
But yes, sir, this another question is again again to you only. How can we make the production of EVs cost effective and make it feasible for selling to mass appeal like Maruti Suzuki, which has huge mass appeal in our country? Can EVs do that?
I mean, definitely. So let me put it this way. The question is very deep, but you will understand it faster. The first EV ever produced was not in the 1900s, but in the 1837, much before the internal combustion engine. Then, there is one company called Samuel Electric, which came up with 62 cabs in 1895 again. And then in 1960s, many companies tried. But, the first million mark, which was hit by electric passenger vehicle, was in 2015 only. 2015, which is like just about 5 years back. And today we are sitting at 3 crore 50 lakh, that is 35 million passenger vehicle, 35 times, 35 times growth in 5 years. And entire world is saying by 2030, we only want to sell electric. You cannot manufacture like सब चीज डंडे से ही होती है worldwide, not just India. Online education could not have been this successful. Baiju was not this successful if COVID was.
Right, sir.
So,
right, sir.
Government जब डंडा मारेगी तो worldwide 95 million vehicles sale होते हैं साल के. Imagine the kind of growth potential still there. Imagine the kind of multiple factor, and the visible factor is Tesla, which alone valuation is more than the next 5 companies valuation put together, including Toyota, Mercedes, BMW, and Volkswagen. So look at the kind of potential electric vehicles have. So definitely it will happen for sure.
Yes, sir. Daily, on the daily basis, we are having the news in the newspaper that government is going to mandate, or they have already put up mandatory or requirements that we need to take electric vehicles and subsidies and all, so many things. Support is being given by the government, and they are expecting that by 2025 we will be having at least 50% market owned by the EVs, maybe more than that. Thank you so much, sir. So now next question is again is by Saptarshi Bhattacharji, and he's asking, as we know that production of more EVs will lead to more production of electricity, which will lead to burning of more coal at generating stations, and then how to cope up with using up the natural resources. So on the World Environment Day, this is a pertinent question, and this goes to Arendam Lahiri sir.
Very, I think, appropriate question in today's context, and especially on the Indian context, where our share on electricity production through renewable energy formats is still very low. I think there is a strong focus from the current government in terms of using solar energy. So a lot of mega solar farms are being initiated and produced. Surely the growth in the electric vehicles cannot happen by producing more electricity from coal, because that's not going to work anyway. And which is why those linkages and those challenges across the various value chain in the entire industry is very important. And which is why I keep saying that the focus needs to be on alternate energy vehicle rather than just stating only electric vehicle. Yes, the alternate energy will eventually be used in the form of electricity inside the car to run the motor, to power up the motor, and create the the powertrain, the drivetrain in the car to have the movement. But there will definitely be need for much more renewable energy applications, and therefore those kind of I think focus is on, and surely it cannot run on coal-fired electric generation plants for sure. But very good question. I'm happy that the youngsters are looking at this particular problem. This is a big problem to solve. And I think a lot of people can come into this area and this domain, because once you are able to fix this problem, the growth of electric cars in this country is going to be exponentially high.
Right, sir. Right, sir. So another question is open to anyone in the panel, and this is asked by one of the international viewer, Stanley Lois. So the question is a lifetime of battery with respect to continuous usage and harder usage. Is it effective than the conventional? That's the question.
I'll take it, sir. We have to understand the life. When we say battery life cycles, so battery runs on cycles and not on kilometers or anything. So if it says battery life cycle, that means once you put a charge to your mobile and take it out in 1 second, one life cycle is gone. One life cycle is gone. Usually, the mobile companies claim to have 10,000 life cycles, but after a certain period, 3,000 or 4,000 life cycles, the battery comes down to 80% of its efficiency, 10 to 60, 10 to 40. That's why when people charge a lot their phone, plug in, plug out, that's when their battery dies. One. Second, the industry, including Tesla and all other, are working on creating the life cycles to about 1 million cycles. I mean, imagine 1 million cycle. You will end up using the batteries for your life and your family, your grandchildren's life as well. So I think it's gonna be better than the life of the ICE, because there are 20,000 parts in a car when it's an internal combustion, and there are only, I'm not saying exact number, but in some hundreds, 200, 300 parts when it comes to electric vehicle.
Right, sir. So this is the last question, which is asked by Mr. Aman Akotkar. The question is, it finds that more carbon is emitted in the manufacture of e-vehicles than of internal combustion engine cars. So is it true? And that question is specifically to Mr. Tushar. Sir, share your thoughts.
Hello. Yeah. So I think it's a debatable question, I'll say, because you talk about a technology that is still evolving, that is still developing. We are thinking about recycling the batteries. We are thinking about bettering the batteries. We are thinking about the solid state batteries, going better in terms of overall development. And if you talk about the ICE engine, it's been 100 years, more than 100 years. So you're comparing a technology which is still in the development, and it is getting comparable with the IC engine. So you cannot just, we cannot just state that it's going to continue on the same path and it's going to produce more and more waste management issues, and going to create more pollution. It's going to take its own shape through the development. We are talking about the recycling of the batteries. We are talking about much efficient ways to handle increasing the life. I think Mr. Das already mentioned about how the battery life can be extended, and it can go beyond the IC engine life if properly designed. Of course, that's the trick there. So I'll say that it's not just about comparing one to other. There are a lot more things involved, and all needs to be considered.
Yeah, so thank you so much. There are so many questions still lying pending, but as we have crossed the time limit, so what we will do, sir, these questions will be sent to you by mail, and the candidate who has asked that, they will be provided with that kind of answers, right, sir? So with this, I would like to hand it over to, again, people from ISI. Please take it over.
Okay, thank you, sir, and everyone present here. I want to express my sincere appreciation to experts for their inspiring words and depth of understanding and ability to present the subject in such an interesting way. And I'm sure everyone is interested by the session, and I would like to thank all the participants for joining the expert talk. We hope that now you are aware of required roadmap to electric vehicle engineering. And now I would like to say that Dr. Ashwini Sharma, sir, to present the vote of thanks.
Yeah, so this is the last formality I am here for, sir. I was the host for you today, and it was so nice to see you all after so much of time. Arendam sir, he is a regular speaker who is interacting. Yes, his smile is always contagious. Sir, it's a beautiful smile. That's so great to meet you. And Dhyanudas sir, your get-up, I would like that sometimes. I would like to have this kind of get-up. You are always amazing as usual, and the way you are leaving no stone unturned in every sector where you have focused on, including the luxury ride in Karnal. Because when we were going to Ludhiana, at that time we were searching of it, where is the luxury ride. So at the time when we got back from there, At that time, we saw it's a beautiful, beautiful venture you have created. So this is only one. The people should know this is the only one thing which you are working on. Apart from that, you have got number of initiatives which have been taken by you, and I cannot believe that one single person can do it. It's amazing, sir. It's so amazing to meet you on this platform.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Harsh, sir, the kind of know-how, the kind of mentoring, and the kind of attitude you have got. Let's say if somebody is meeting you first time, the kind of friendliness you show towards the people, it's very amazing. People get comfortable even without meeting you, just by talking you on phone. That's so amazing, sir. That's so amazing. And Tushar sir, it's so nice to meet you, because we are meeting it for first time. Though we have got relation with NSIS in some other terms when we were preparing for the national and international championship of F1 racing, or maybe all-terrain vehicle, Baja, all these things. So NSIS used to sponsor us. So we have got that connect already with you. And Dr. Rana Singh, yes, we had a very good time when we met at your university, as well as the way you have deliberated today. It is excellent presentation. Thank you so very much. So the panel, I think what I am witnessing here, these are the 4 people except me, and they are combinedly having an experience of around 100+ years. And people who have weaved this program today, they have got this kind of experience, which is an impossible task for one single lifetime. So it's on the plate which we have given to the people. Thank you so very much. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आप लोगों का इस प्रोग्राम में जुड़ने के लिए. And with this, I take your leave. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद and नमस्कार.
We forgot, sir. Rana sir, आप.
Rana sir से हो गया sir. Rana sir का हो गया.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you all.